Hey everybody, welcome back. This is just a quick video about me hooking up this combiner box and crimping the cables that you see there coming from the solar panels. Here's the box. It has fuses, ceramic fuses. This is previously a combiner box that I purchased before for another project, and we're upcycling. So you're going to see me upcycle some wire here that I'm cleaning. This is from another project. I always like to, reuse things if I can for future projects. I'm all the time buying things, using them, testing, taking them apart, seeing where I can improve. So you'll just see me here cleaning up the wires. Like I said, these are from another project, so the ends of them are kind of frayed, and there's lugs on the other end, which you'll see me snip off here in a little while. Altogether, it took me about an hour to wire up this combiner box. Like I said before, it was previously a combiner box from a company on Amazon, but I didn't really like the way they had it wired. They used very small gauge wires and unequal length wires, and so I just wanted to rewire it and make all the wire lengths equal, and maybe just a little bit beefier cable. What they were using in there previously was probably 12 gauge, and the green and black wire that you see in the box, that's a 10 gauge wire, um, 10 copper, OFC copper wire, which I use for most of this project. I just had it extra laying around. Um, I feel like it's good, decent wire. I didn't solder any of them, but you'll see later in the video I use it for, the solar panel cables as well as the cables inside of this box. So here's a shot of the inside of the box. Um, I'm going to switch around to the camera view here to get a little closer so you can see me crimping on the end of the solar connections. Um, all this stuff was purchased on Amazon. If you're not familiar with the solar cable connections, they're a little funny. There's a little bit of a process that you have to go through putting them together. They're weatherproof and waterproof, humidity proof. So you have to make sure that you put, the actual nut or the, part that tightens down onto the back of the connector, the grommet, and then the pin. Um, if you accidentally forget to put the wire and the nut and the grommet on the pin or on the cable before you crimp it, as long as you don't put the end of it on there, you should be in good shape. You would still be able to put the all that stuff onto the connector. So here I'm just crimping them real quick. Trying to get a good connection, solid connection. I'm double checking my work, and you see that the grommet's on there. So here I come back, and I'm just making sure that I have the right connector on the right wire. You can definitely make a mistake with this. They look very similar, so you just want to double check while you're going along what you're doing. So here you see me putting on the connector. There definitely is a definitive click once you put that pin in there, and you are not going to be able to get that grommet or that nut onto there once you will not be able to remove that pin. It will damage the middle pin on the end of the wire. You'll have to go ahead and crimp a whole new one on there. So, yes, I have done that before. Yes, I have ruined a few connectors. Here I am just testing the voltage of the panels. It should be around 80 volts. I have all the panels wired in series. I did that off camera. Um, I'm not getting a good connection. I'm double checking the meter, and here we go. It should be 80 volts now. 83.3. Here I am double checking my work in the box, just checking voltage to make sure that, what's coming through the end of the cables for the solars, what's going to come through in the box. Double checking my voltage everywhere, making sure that all my connections look good, no smoke, no heat. There's no load going through the box yet, but if you have something the wrong way around, it's definitely going to let you know. I'm trying to find a good place for this box. I really don't want to move the inverter. I installed this inverter off camera. It actually runs my whole entire enclosed trailer. It's also what charges the battery. We'll do a video on the battery in a later time. We're actually coming up on owning that battery for a year, so I should do a 1 year review on it. I finally decided on a place. I kind of like the box. I kind of like the cable routing. Um, I could still open the hatch. So here I am mounting it. I just used 2 screws. It's a very light box. I mean, I would say the whole thing is less than a pound, maybe 2 pounds maximum. So 2 screws are definitely going to be able to do it. And kind of testing my connections here, making sure none of the wires are coming out. And I'm going to get right into wiring it. So I open up the panel for the inverter. I'm looking at where I need to go in the inverter, and I don't really like the way that this inverter routes these cables. They're inside the inverter. The connections are just way too close to each other, so you gotta really nail it. And I don't know what size wire they had in mind whenever they were building this inverter, but I would say that the 8 gauge that I'm running into it, that's the maximum. You're not gonna be able to fit a bigger wire into that and be able to use all the strands of the wire. You could probably cut down a wire um, to get in there, but you're definitely not going to be able to use a 4 or 6 gauge. I would say that 8 gauge on this particular inverter is the maximum. So I'm struggling, trying to keep everything nice. And once you try and put a round peg in a square hole, then you don't get all the strands in there, so it does cause a little bit of an issue, and you really don't want these to arc next to each other when the sun's out in full effect. So yeah, we just cinched that up. We're just checking to make sure there's no strands. Very tiny little pieces of copper that could be touching each other whenever the sun finally does come out. I'm doing this on a cloudy day to mitigate the danger that I'm in, because 80 volts will shock you, and it's very dangerous working with electricity, so please be careful. There it is, done and dusted, guys. We're going to do a little cable managing off camera. I'm going to do a little playing around with the solar configuration. I'm going to run, series, parallel. I'm going to order some parallel connections for outside. And we're going to play around with that in a later video or maybe a short. But I appreciate you guys for watching my video this long. If you could please subscribe and like the video, it really helps me out. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. I read all the comments. And have a great day, guys.